Oh, you stupid motherfucker!
You're gonna find me dead! I'm gonna kill myself!
Hit the fucking guy! What the fuck is he doing?
I'm gonna be hanging from the bathroom!
They got their leg!
Don't ask me to do nothing! This is nothing!
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Steel Here podcast, where I'm your host, Kevin Adams, alongside my partner in crime, Jersey Jerry. And win or lose, our goal is still to bring you nothing but the best, all things Pittsburgh Steelers football. It was a tough week, but before we get into it, just some news on Jerry and I's end. We're going to have Jerry. He's going to be coming to town this weekend for the Jets game. He will be at the terrible tailgate. That's going to be in Red Lot 5A. Cordell Stewart will also be in attendance at the tailgate this weekend. You're all welcome to come. You can find tickets on my Twitter, on the Terrible Tailgate Twitter. You can get your link through Eventbrite, so you'll be able to get tickets there. And then hopefully we see you guys on Sunday. Jerry's trying to come in and get a look at all things Mitch Trubisky and Matt Canada's offense. So where are we at with that, Jerry? Where are you thinking you are on that?
Yeah, well, I'm actually pretty excited to go to the game. Try to make a couple a year, couple home, couple away. But yeah, man, I was hoping I'd be going to this game with some good intentions.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's going to be the same old story. There's a saying, nothing changes if nothing changes. Nothing really has changed. I don't believe,
Nope.
the roster is where it is, where it stands. This is like we said last week, that game against the Browns will tell you a lot about the Steelers season. Seems like we're just going to be like a 500 team, if that, if it stays the same. This game is, if you don't win this game, cancel the season.
Yeah.
Cancel it. If you don't win this fucking game, cancel the season. What's the point? What's the point? So this is a must win. After the Jets game, the schedule just gets brutal.
Yeah.
So I'm not very optimistic. So we'll see what happens. But I will say this: I've been to a couple of the tailgates. I love going there. It's awesome. The atmosphere is great. You put on a great little show, you know what I mean? Bringing the guests in. Cordell, I'm excited to meet him. That'll be awesome. Yep. It's just a place to go where everybody has a good time, and enjoys themselves. I think you do all you can eat, all you can drink too.
Yeah, all you can eat, all you can drink. This game's $60 just because Cordell obviously isn't the cheapest guest to get there, but nonetheless, it's cheaper than any autograph you would get of Cordell Stewart online or anywhere else, and it includes the tailgate. We have a DJ, so it is a good time. Just because the Steelers aren't exactly good right now doesn't mean we have to mail it in and not still enjoy game days. It's still a blast to get down to the park and enjoy a game. From the Steelers standpoint, it's terrible. It's frustrating as all hell, man. Mitch Trubisky is not it. He's just not it. I don't know how much more we have to see it. He was brought in to be a bridge quarterback. He was not brought in to be the future after we spent a 20 on Kenny Pickett. And so to continue to just roll him out there, and Tomlin said some things today that made my head want to explode, that he feels that they're getting better every week. Yeah. Yes, man. What fucking improvement? What improvement?
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
There's no way you can continue to expect the defense to hold up their end of the bargain, and the offense is just fucking terrible. And the offense is bad. You see George Pickens out there. Everyone who has Twitter has seen it at this point. The guy is pissed. He's jumping up and down. He's wide open. Again, how many times does he have to be wide open?
I hit the nail on the head with that last week, but this is before the game. We talked, and I said, this guy, for people who don't know George Pickens, he's a ticking time bomb. And listen, that was just a very small glimpse of what's in store for that Steelers sideline. Because he goes in another game like this, he's going to snap. He's going to fucking snap. Yeah, I don't know what – I would love to know what he was saying Deontay and Claypool on the sideline. I
Oh
couldn't
yeah.
make it out. I don't know if you could, but yeah, I
No,
would
he
love
was
to know what he was
pissed.
saying.
Yeah, he was definitely pissed in that moment. And I mean, how can't you be? The only time Trubisky even looks his way, here's the thing about that play where it's a ridiculous catch. It is how many I mean, we have the most ridiculous catches in the NFL through 3 games. And a
Yeah.
lot of that's because Trubisky just can't put the ball in a good place. That's a decent part of it. But he makes an insane catch. He wants to be involved. Guys like him that are alphas that know that they're better than damn near everybody else on the field, they just want to fucking be involved. He wants to catch the football. We're not getting him involved nearly enough. And you can't blame him for being pissed in that moment. You can't blame any of the offense for being pissed. You have Freiermuth he's pretty much rotting on the field until the last series of the game. And then Mitch is just forcing the ball across the middle. He only threw 2 balls across the middle. Freiermuth caught them both. I mean, I don't know what
His
more we could
stats
be
are
doing.
so skewed. I mean, like you'll say, oh yeah, Mitch, look for all the yards he threw. Yeah, what when the defense is playing 15 yards off at the end of games?
Right.
This is back-to-back games where we've seen Mitch chunk up his stat book with some bullshit last drive padded
Prevent
stats.
defense.
Yeah, I mean,
defense. It doesn't matter. If you can throw the ball over the field on the last drive of the game because your team is down 2 scores because you couldn't get shit done the rest of the game, that's nothing to write home about. And he doesn't even have great stats, those included. I'm looking at them right now. He was 62 of 103 for the season. So he's completed about 20 passes a game. He's throwing around 30, 34 balls a game. His completion percentage is 60%, which is not fucking great. The great quarterbacks are going to be closer to 70, so he's not even in that wheelhouse yet. 569 yards. So he's not even averaging 200 yards passing a game. He's not even averaging 200 fucking yards passing a game, which is why...
Does a receiver have a touchdown this year?
He has 2 touchdowns. And it's not a receiver. No receivers. He has one to Najee, and he has one to Freiermuth.
Yeah, so we have our receivers have 0 touchdowns in 3 games. That
pathetic.
Is disgusting.
That's pathetic. And this is why the fans are pissed. And last week we were good to him. We said, give him one more week. Let's see what he can do. We asked the fans to not boo the shit out of him at home. But at this point, I don't fucking care anymore. Like this is it's a problem, Jerry. This is a problem, and this is what most people get pissed about. And Mike Tomlin, for all the good he does, he deserves the criticisms for continuing to surround his players and his team with bad coordinators. We held on to Randy Feitner too long. We held on to Keith Butler too long. We're holding on to Matt Canada too long. Mike Tomlin is loyal to a fault, and it is costing the team. And this shit needs to change. I don't give a fuck what we say about Steeler Way or what we say about, the standard is the standard. What is the standard? What are we really accomplishing if that's what we want to say?
Just above 500, I guess. That's what Tomlin's standard is.
Right.
Listen, I think listen, let's say the Steelers offense, right? 11 guys on the field, right?
Mm-hmm.
You gave them a little notepad and you just marked off yes or no for all 11 players on offense.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, hey, should Matt Canada be fired? I would say 8 out of 11 guys would say, check that box. Yes, this guy deserves to be fired.
I agree. And it's a problem. And I think the fans are getting even more pissed now because it comes back to what we said about Kenny Pickett being NFL ready. Mitch Trubisky was the bridge quarterback. That's what we brought him here to do. He was not brought to be the future. And if we're not going to use Kenny Pickett, well, then what are we doing? Do we really believe that Kenny Pickett can't throw, he can't move the offense for 14, 17 points a game? Do we genuinely not believe he can fucking do that? Especially when he was the most NFL ready. He played his career at Pitt, so he's familiar with the area. I mean, what are we doing, man? And it's maddening because Tomlin, like he said, he saw improvement. I just don't know where. I genuinely don't fucking have any idea where he saw improvement on that offensive side of the ball.
Tomlin is the master at dodging questions.
Mm-hmm.
He just fucking says his little fucking dumb fucking sayings over and over again. You know what I mean? And I'm at the point where it's just fucking annoying now.
Yeah, great.
You make one move, okay, on the defensive side of the ball. Do you think that's going to fix your problems? Like,
Right.
that's not going to, instead of like giving the people at the press conference something good to talk about, like, oh, hey, listen, on the offensive side of the ball, we got to be fucking not cursed, but we got to be better.
Mm-hmm.
We got to move the ball, and guess what? This is the last straw. This Jets game. If nothing improves, we're gonna make some significant changes on the offensive side of the ball.
Right.
Because
Light a fire.
yeah, light a fire. Like, the guy is just, he's up there, he's smiling. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. He should be ashamed of himself.
And this is here's the thing, and this is something that I've harped about since 2017. And a lot of people on Twitter, they don't want to fucking listen to it. And a lot of people think Mike Tomlin is God and this, that, and the other. And do I think he's a bad head coach? Not at all. I think Mike Tomlin is a very adequate, good head coach. I think he has helped grind out some wins we probably shouldn't have had. But by the same token, he's lost us games we should have won. Okay, so it goes both ways. Having said that, we have been masked. All of these problems that we're talking about have been masked by Hall of Fame Ben Roethlisberger for a very, very long period of time.
It's a good point.
Mike Tomlin was brought in to be a defensive head coach. He was brought in to be a defensive head coach, and the defense has not. It's not been. We have bad run defense. I mean, and we can say that the offense doesn't help, because the offense doesn't help. You can't expect the defense to get off the field late in the game whenever they're on the field most of the game. I agree, but we've had bad run defense for quite a while, and a lot of the league now has very little to do with defense. I mean, I fucking call a spade a spade. It has very little to do with defense at today's NFL. You need to score points. You need to draw up concepts to get your receivers where they need to be. The misdirection, all sorts of different things, and the more NFL football I've watched this year, the more angry it makes me inside that Matt Canada is our offensive coordinator. Yeah. He's terrible. He is fucking. This is insane that this guy still has a job. And whether it's week 3 or not, we've seen it. We saw it all last year, except Ben Roethlisberger dug us out of the depths of hell late in games. So come on,
you see teams like the Ravens. The Ravens give up like 30 points a game, 26 points a game. They're winning football games. Yep. Because guess what? They could fucking score the ball on offense. Yep. You know what I mean? They don't have to rely on a fucking defense every single game to try and just hope to keep you in the game. Okay, they let up the touchdown, no problem. We'll come right down the field and score a fucking touchdown. You know what I mean? And it's upsetting to see, like, teams like them, teams like the Browns, they're putting up points on offense, and it's just like, oh my God, what are we doing in this division? Like, I mean, hey, credit to the people that bashed the Steelers early in the year, saying this team is going to be under 500. I would have told you, no way, no shot, not with all this talent. But the way it looks right now, this looks like an under 500 team. It really does.
I think I'm hoping, God, I'm fucking praying that we win on Sunday. We get back to 500 because
if they don't fucking win, Mitch better if they don't score the ball, score on offense, Mitch better be out.
Yep. And here's the thing. Yeah, I would love to say that 100%. I'm fully on board with putting Kenny Pickett in, but I was 150% on board with putting Kenny Pickett in this week. 10 days before he got to be able to start this week. What better time? Because if he's not going to start this week on 10 days, I highly doubt they're going to start him against the Buccaneers. I highly doubt they're going to start him against the Bills. I highly doubt they're going to start him against the Eagles. The Dolphins. The Dolphins are a great fucking football team. So we could lose. We could lose every one of those games. I mean, and this is not me being a cynic and pissed off. I'm pissed, absolutely, as every Steelers fan is. But the reality of this situation is we could lose a lot of the next 5 games. We could lose every single one of them. The Steelers could be looking at 2-7 here real quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then what? Then you put Kenny Pickett in. Those aren't great circumstances. You know, so then you're putting him in while the season's pretty much fucking cooked. And you and I have talked about it. What if he comes in and he lights the world on fire then? How pissed off are we going to be that we didn't go to him sooner?
And it'll ruin a draft pick, and it'll ruin a whole nother season of our chance to make the playoffs.
Yep. So it's at the end of the day, we can talk about Montrevious Adams jumps, Tyson Alualu, in the depth chart, and that's great. Our run defense has been piss poor. There's no denying that, and we can talk about all those things, the changes that Tomlin wants to make. But at the end of the day, until we change the quarterback position, or at least tell Mitch, look, the middle of the field needs to be used. You have to use it. I'm very tired of watching guys like Cooper Rush last night light up the middle of the fucking football field. I can't take it anymore. I can't take this shit anymore, man. And I think all of Steelers Nation cannot take it anymore. Until we make a change at quarterback or we make a change at coordinator, this season is a wash. This season is a wash. Matt Canada is not the guy. And we knew it was a wash last fucking year. Everybody knew Matt Canada was not the guy last year, and Tomlin rode him anyway. And so you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. So yes, everybody that thinks Tomlin is a great head coach, he is a good head coach. Great at this point in his career. I don't know what you define as great because we ain't won dick in a very long period of time. Is he a good head coach? Yes. Does he make significant problems because he does not make changes when he needs to? Absolutely, and there's no fucking denying it. No denying that anymore. The defense, the secondary, you have issues. Ahkello Witherspoon is not good. He's a liability back there. He has not been good on the backside of the ball.
Yeah, I think he's allowing one of the highest passer ratings to quarterbacks in the NFL.
He is. And here's the shitty thing. Initially, I had said if the pass rush got home, it will disguise some of the secondary. And we knew that. You know, if a good pass rush gets there, it can help the back end. And it has. Early in that first game, pass rush got home. We made Burrow look like shit. Pass rush doesn't get home against the Patriots. It does not get home very well against the Browns. And Ahkello Witherspoon is out there just getting fucking gashed. And it's just him though. Cam Sutton's playing good. Levi Wallace is playing good enough. Like, I mean, if one domino doesn't fall our way, you can see a lot of glaring problems that the Steelers have, and they're all starting to come to fruition now. And it's a concerning problem. And I really don't see how we can get better going through this gauntlet. I just don't see. They need a spark on offense if they want to compete. The defense is doing enough though, Jerry. If you can't win when the defense holds teams to 17 or 20 points, what do they want us to do, man? I mean, I don't know what you expect the defense to do. Yeah.
And you would think, like, you know, Tomlin would be like so much more pissed. Like TJ Watt, in my opinion, the best defensive player in football is out, right? You should make it known to the offense, like, hey, without TJ Watt, we're still in games and you guys just aren't getting it done. And it seems like he just doesn't really care. He's saying in press conferences that he's seen improvements with Mitch. The offense is, I mean, not to this is not paraphrasing, but he pretty much said in the press conference, hey, we're going to stick with Mitch. We're going to keep doing what we're doing, and we'll hopefully something will change, you know? But the reality is nothing is going to change, Mike. You know, this is going to be the same thing all over again. And I'll tell you what, do not sleep on the fucking Jets.
No.
Don't do it, man. They got playmakers, bro. They got playmakers, man.
They have a great elite wide receivers.
Yeah. Great wide receivers. Breece Hall, Michael Carter, they're good running backs.
Yeah.
Their defensive line stops the run. So I mean, this can be a disaster very, very quick.
Oh yeah. By the bye week, you know, when TJ is roughly going to come back, the Steelers could be so far out of contention that the season doesn't matter anyway. At that point, just let him rest entirely so we don't push that injury back, because I don't see. Yeah. I mean, and we're also, you know, Jerry, we both overreact a little bit, but I don't even see this as being overreactory. Like, I really don't know how they expect us to score enough points to beat the Buccaneers, or we're definitely not beating the fucking Bills. I'm not. There's no fucking way. I mean, we beat them last year. Yes, I don't see it happening again, not without TJ Watt. To go into Miami, they can score the ball. They push the ball down the field. I have many concerns about that. The Eagles are damn good. I mean, we could be in very bad shape by the bye week, and this season could be wrapped up and cooked by then. And that's a fucking shame to say, because we are an incredibly talented football team. We are an incredibly talented football team. I mean, there's no way you can look down this roster of George Pickens, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Pat Freiermuth, Najee Harris, and you can't figure out how to score more than 2 touchdowns a game? A fucking game, man. 2 touchdowns. What are we doing? Who does it come back to then? And we said it last week. It comes back to the quarterback play, and it comes back to Matt Canada. The only thing I will say is that game Thursday, I was in Cleveland for it. It was a blast to be in that atmosphere because of how electric the fans of Cleveland are. I mean, they don't sit. That's one of those stadiums I've been to. They do not sit down, and it's a fucking blast to watch football there. That's a football atmosphere. They are loud, and Tomlin hinted to it today that a lot of our issues on third down was because we played on the road and they were hostile environments and they were loud, and we weren't getting off the ball fast enough, things of that nature, which is fine. But then when Trubisky does push the ball downfield and it's an absolute dime to Deontay Johnson, and he drops it, that kills us. And that was a drive we needed to sustain because the defense came off a long drive and they were gassed. And those types of plays are what kill a team that's just not that good. If we can't sustain drives in the second half and let the defense get wind, the defense is going to crumble, as every human being is going to be gassed after playing that much football well into a second half. And that's a big part of our offense.
They're like averaging like 20 yards a drive, which is like 22 or like 24 yards a drive.
Pathetic.
That is disgusting. That is terrible. You're going to lose every single game like that.
You can't win in this NFL. It comes back to you can't win in this NFL that way. Mitch Trubisky's longest completion so far this season is 36 yards. And do you know what play it is?
Pickens?
Yes. It's a ridiculous. I mean, he had to literally bend the Matrix out there. He's the fucking Matrix to catch that football. And that's our longest completion through 3 games. Tell me that's not pathetic. It circles back to, if you don't think Kenny Pickett can do that for us, then why did we draft him? If you don't think Kenny Pickett can at least give us that.
Here's a hot take. Steelers will be undefeated if Ben was playing quarterback. I think so.
I actually have a high amount of agreement with that, simply because we were in that Patriots game. We couldn't fucking put drives together. But Ben also does what Mitch Trubisky's not doing right now in the fourth quarters. It comes back to what we said last week. Ben had the ability to draw up what he knew worked, and we ran off of those plays, and they had great benefit to us, and he won us games. Mitch Trubisky's not that. Mitch Trubisky will never be that. Mitch Trubisky's never going to be that talented or good enough at the game. He's not going to play long enough to be able to do those types of things. So we can't rely on that. That's where, if we had a legitimate offensive coordinator, maybe we wouldn't have to be so hard on Trubisky. But the fact that it is a shitstorm between Matt Canada and Mitch Trubisky, and you have Kenny Pickett sitting on the sidelines, what do you think Kenny is thinking? What the fuck do you think Kenny is thinking right now? Like, wow, guys, you brought me in here to do this. You really have no faith that I could do better than what we're looking at currently?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? If I was Kenny Pickett, I would say to myself, hey, listen, my time is coming. But I'd definitely be saying to myself, another week of this, another week of putting up 13 points on offense. Hopefully they come to me because I want to win. I want to win football games. And listen, I think every, backup quarterback in the NFL, I don't think they root for the starting quarterback to fail.
No.
Because, guys have families, guys are friends, guys are close. But I think there's a part of them that wants to play the game they love, and that they want to show what they can do. And, Kenny didn't get his chance yet. I just hope if nothing changes, it comes sooner rather than later. I don't even care. I'm so fed up with the people, the gauntlet and stuff like that coming up. I don't even care.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Get him the experience.
Agreed. And I had mentioned this to you after the Browns game, was that everybody's saying, oh, you can't play him now. You can't play him now. This is the NFL. This is the NFL. These guys are brought in to play the game at the highest level. Now, would I have preferred if Kenny Pickett got to start against the Jets this weekend? At least a little bit less talented football team? Abso-fucking-lutely. I mean, it made sense. It made sense. But if you think that he shouldn't play because the teams that he's playing are elite defenses and you're not giving the guy a chance to succeed, give me a break. That is the worst fucking excuse I've ever heard. Do you think he's sitting there saying, oh, I don't want to play this week. Let's try, next week whenever the team's a little shittier. Those guys don't think that way. And if they think that way, they ain't the guy. They ain't the fucking guy. So don't give me those excuses that all you need, it needs to be a softer portion of the schedule. Bullshit.
Yeah,
You're brought in here to play football. Let's play.
Yeah, I've seen one guy even tweet, oh, why would you rush him out there? He's gonna get hurt or something like that. Hurt. There's a chance somebody fucking gets paralyzed every single play in the NFL. There's always a chance of getting hurt. You know what I mean?
Right.
Doesn't matter which team you're fucking facing. Like you said, this is the NFL, man. This is the highest level.
getting hurt. Why? Why is he going to get hurt? Because the
Yes.
line, what everyone wants to say, the line sucks. Kiss my
No.
ass.
No.
Kiss my ass. The line does not suck at all. Which brings me to my all heart player of the week. It is a man of the line, and it's James Daniels. I think James Daniels has started to be a wrecking ball up there on that offensive line.
Yeah.
Between Chuck's on the right tackle and James Daniel at the right guard, the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line is not a problem, and they're creating more holes and they're getting better every single week. So if you told me this at the beginning of the season, that the offensive line would actually be one of our least concerns through 3 games, I'd say, fuck, they're 3-0 then. They're 3-0. That they're good enough. If that line is good, they should be winning games. And the line is plenty fine. James Daniels on one play blocked his guy into Chuck's guy and blew out 2 men on the same play. The hole was large enough, Jerry. You and I could have walked arm in arm through it.
Yeah.
And the line is doing what they have to be doing. Dan Moore Jr. made Myles Garrett look like a high schooler. I mean, Dan Moore Jr. is a guy that everyone said, oh, he could be a problem. Dan Moore Jr. shut Myles Garrett down last year. He shut him down again this year, and that's everyone wants to suck on Myles Garrett. The guy doesn't perform against the Steelers. He doesn't.
No,
he simply does not perform against the Steelers. So I don't want to hear any more about the offensive line being a problem. That offensive line is the least of our concerns right now. The least of our concerns. Yep. What's your all heart player this week?
So I mean, it's okay, but like you stole from me, which is fine. Dan Moore, man, I'm gonna go with him. You took Daniels. I'll go with Moore, man. This is 2 years now. That we've played the Browns, and Myles Garrett doesn't do a fucking thing. He put him in check the whole game. He really, really did. Protected Mitch. Mitch. This is another week where the offensive line has done their job. So. From a quarterback standpoint, you cannot say, oh, well, I don't have time to throw the ball. Bullshit, you do.
Yeah.
So the offensive line is doing their jobs. I'm going with Dan Moore this week. Great week out of him, man. Great 2 weeks out of him. Honestly.
Yep.
He's been doing great. He really has. And not just in the pass blocking, the run game as well. He's bullying these guys outside, inside. Yeah, so that's mine for the week, man, and I just hope the offensive line just keeps playing the way they do, and they just keep coming together and gelling as a unit, because I think if Tomlin said this, I've seen improvement on the offensive line every single week, I would agree with it. But I definitely haven't seen improvement from the quarterback the last 3 weeks. I've seen honestly. I don't even know what the fucking opposite of improvement is. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, garbage. That's what it is. Regression.
Yeah, regression. I've seen. What's weird is I seen a play, and it was like the ball gets snapped in shotgun, 3 wide receiver set, and instead of just hanging out in the pocket, Mitch just, as soon as the ball is snapped, waits like a second. He's not even getting pressured. He just rolls outside. He just takes his time, rolls outside, and I'm like, well, why are you doing that? Why not stay in the pocket? You know what I mean? But hey, we'll see.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating because there was at the end of the first half, the Steelers had the ball. They had a chance to get points there before halftime, and we were running the 2-minute offense, and Trubisky was terrible. He took a sack he shouldn't have taken. He held the ball way too fucking long instead of throwing it away, and that's a big part of what pisses me off is people want to pile on the line. Look, every line in the NFL gives up some sacks, man. So accept that. A couple sacks here and there, I can fucking live with. 7, 8 sacks, we got a problem. 2 sacks, I'm good with 2 sacks. 3 sacks, I can live with it. The line had given him time, and he is terribly throwing the ball in that 2-minute offense. Awful. Yeah. I mean, we couldn't move the ball to save our lives. He's throwing it way out of bounds. And he said after the game, if the play wasn't there, he wanted to at least not give the Browns a short field. Brother, there was like 20 seconds left. If you don't trust us to get off the field, if you turn the ball over at that point, you're never going to be the guy. The last thing I want to say about Mitch Trubisky that genuinely pisses me off a lot is he's timid. He's a timid quarterback, and in this NFL, got to be a gunslinger. Look at the elite ones right now: the Herberts, the Burrows, the Mahomes, the Josh Allens. Those guys are fucking gunslingers, man. Yep, they play with reckless abandon. They sling the ball all over. They trust in themselves. They trust in the guys they're throwing to make a fucking play. And it's not like we don't have receivers that can make a play for us. So if you're going to be timid, again, there's no way that you don't think Kenny Pickett could be better than whatever Mitch Trubisky has given us. So much so that if you're going to pair it with Matt Canada, then it takes me into my tweet of the week. It comes from Daniel Valente. His handle is @StatsGuyDaniel. The Steelers have gone over 30 points in a game only once since 2021. That's tied with 3 other teams for worst in the NFL. There's just so much pressure on the defense to play flawlessly because this offense can't be counted on to consistently score. What is the only comparison that you can make between 2021 and 2022 is what's the one consistency, and it's the offensive coordinator, and it's Matt Canada. Because last year we had Big Ben, we couldn't score with Big Ben, Hall of Fame quarterback. Now we have Mitch Trubisky who can run, we still can't fucking score. We don't score on the opening drives. We never score on the opening drives. I'm so tired of that. And 30 points in the NFL is like the benchmark. If we scored 30 points any one of these 3 weeks, we would have won all 3 games. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And it's maddening that we can't pull that off.
Yep. My tweet is from a guy on Instagram, Scarpizio. It says Steelers offensive plays through 3 games is 174. Defensive plays is 231. The most through the first 3 games of any of the team's seasons since the merger. Offense is minus 57 in plays, which is the biggest difference in the first 3 games of any single season since the merger. That is pathetic.
Pathetic.
They are on pace to be one of the worst offensives in football this year.
History. In football history.
Sickening.
Since stats were recorded 35, 40 years ago, we're looking at one of the worst offenses since then. In a day and age when it's not, you can't ride a defense like the Ravens did with, I think it was 2001, the Trent Dilfer Super Bowl, where, they had electric defense and you could stop a game. The league isn't that anymore. The league's not tailored to be that. The NFL didn't want that. It's bad for ratings. They want points.
Yep.
And to continue to try and play this small ball style of football that the Steelers play, if the defense doesn't get 3 takeaways or score a touchdown, we lose. We lose. I mean, that is pathetic. That is pathetic. That means it's time to move on from the Matt Canada, Mitch Trubisky experience. Bring Kenny in after this season. If Tomlin doesn't want to cut a guy, mid-season, then the very first day of exit interviews, see you the fuck later, Matt Canada. It's time to go somewhere else. I would be shocked if that guy could even coach in college at this point. He's that bad. He's that fucking bad.
Yeah.
How many years did he coach in
college? Coached like 2020 or something like that?
And he got bounced around. If you saw, he got bounced around from, I want to say LSU. He sucked. He sucked at Pitt. Even Narduzzi's Pitt's head coach, he made comments about how much Matt Canada was not, wasn't that good. So it's wild that somehow he latched on here. And again, that's the Steeler way. way. We promote from inside the building and fucking yada, yada. The unfortunate part is you're promoting guys that sucked as much as the guy before. So what are we doing? What are we doing here? You cannot expect this to continue and get different results, Tomlin. I want to fucking win football games, man. That's all I want to do. And with what you're giving us, it's not going to win many football games this season. And if it's because you refuse to fire a guy early, that's on you. That's on you, Coach Tomlin. 100% that is on you. It starts at the top. It starts at the captain of the ship. And the captain of this ship has been leading us into troubled waters for quite a while lately, and I can't take it much longer on that end. And the Jets, Jerry, coming to town, we hit on it earlier, but they could beat us. Either Zach Wilson or Joe Flacco could beat us.
That's my favorite bet of the week. I'm taking is Jets plus 3.5. That's the bet I'm taking.
You're taking.
Listen, I don't care if Steelers fans are mad at me. I just feel like, yes, we're coming home. We should have a fire lit under our asses. We should go out there and beat this team by a touchdown or more. I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we're going to beat the Jets, it's going to be by a field goal or less. I'm going to take the Jets this week plus 3.5.
Yep.
You got Zach Wilson coming back. Zach Wilson is really, really mobile. He's
Mm-hmm.
he's only played I think 13 games in his career. But I mean he could sling the ball, man. He could fucking
Yeah.
sling the rock. And he
He
doesn't really
extends
give a
plays.
fuck. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
and he'll force it all over the field. And here's the thing about it: Minka's in concussion protocol. Tomlin told us today
yeah.
that Minka is in concussion protocol. That is not good news because Terrell Edmonds is not playing great football right now.
No.
Our run defense is not great, and if you don't have Minka stopping a few of these runs that explode through the linebackers and get to the second level, if Minka doesn't stop those, we're fucked. Some of those are house calls, and
Yeah,
Brees Hall can make a house call against us. And
yeah,
the Wilson kid, uh, the receivers for the Jets are good. They are fast, they're
yeah.
young, and if you have a quarterback, if say Flacco plays, he's familiar with us. He'll push the ball downfield, he'll sling it all over the place.
Oh yeah,
They
oh
could
yeah,
beat us doing that kind of shit.
hundred
I
percent.
mean, to recap last week, I took George Pickens over 29 and a half receiving yards. Thanks to a ridiculous freak catch, I hit that bet, so I am 1-2 on the season.
Hell yeah.
Jerry, your bet last week was what did you take last week? Steelers plus 4.5. You took
Yes.
Steelers plus 4.5,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We lost that. So Jerry's 1-2 on the season. I am 1-2 on the season. Jerry is taking the Jets plus 3.5. Is that what it is?
Yep. Plus 3.5.
Yep, Jerry's taking the Jets plus 3.5 on the Barstool Sportsbook app. My bet this week is I am going to take over 41.5 points for the game. I'm going to take the over simply because if
Very
Minka
bold of
doesn't
you.
play, yeah, it
It's very
is.
bold
It
of you.
is. And it's mostly because I think that if Minka doesn't play, the Jets can score. They're going to score 3 touchdowns, 24 points, somewhere in that ballpark, in my opinion. And I think the Steelers are coming home and they are going to be pissed off. And a lot of this is just the fan in me talking and not so much the smart gambler, is that I think that they are going to try and push the ball downfield. I think they're going to try and score some points just to get everyone off their asses. Now, whether they can or they can't, we'll find out. But I'm betting in the sense that they will be able to get the offense figured out this week. So I am taking the over 41.5 points. At the end of the day, we need a win. We need to win any means possible. If we don't win on Sunday, you can pretty much pack this one up. Week 4, people don't like saying that shit, but you can pretty much pack this one up if Kenny Pickett's going to keep sitting on the bench. So, I mean, there's not much else, guys. We all know, we have seen this Steelers team for many years repeat the same failing cycles over and over, and I'm afraid that we're going to fall back into it again. So we have to win Sunday. It is a no excuses football game for Mike Tomlin. We're coming home. It is not a great Jets team. If there is a winnable game in the first 4, I would have said this is the most winnable game of the first 4.
Exactly.
So they have to get this one.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like we said, I know I said earlier in the show, you might as well. You don't win this game, you might as well pack it up
Mm-hmm.
because you'll be 1-3 with some tough teams ahead.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelers can realistically, no bullshit, they can drop the next 5 games. They really
Easily.
can in a row.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, you'll come back to this episode and you're like, you know what? Jerry was right. Jerry was right. After the Jets game, if they don't win that game, season's toast. It's toasted, bro.
Done.
It's toasted.
Cooked, because best case scenario, we beat the Jets, we go to 2-2, and then you have to pray to God we split 2 of the next 4, which are hard fucking games. Because at that
Yes.
point, we go to 3-3. If we can somehow get to 3-3, 4-4, somewhere around 4-4, I would be ecstatic at 4-4 going into the
TJ
bye
coming back.
week. I mean, that's best case scenario. If we can keep this thing 500, that is best case scenario. To expect any
I
more than
agree.
that, you're ridiculous.
I agree. 4-4. Then TJ comes back. I would say, Steelers have a chance to make the playoffs.
Agreed.
But
Schedule lightens up a little bit on the second half.
definitely lightens up second half. But we got to see some improvement on the offensive side of the ball. That's for sure.
Yep, no other way around it. So, like we said at the open here, Jerry will be in town this weekend, so we hope you guys stop by, come hang out, see Cordell. I mean, it's still going to be fun to drink a couple beers with a boyhood idol like Cordell Stewart. We will be at the Terrible Tailgate. If you guys are liking the podcast, like, comment, subscribe. You'll find it on the Jersey Jerry YouTube channel. Share it wherever you share it. If you're enjoying it, we appreciate all your support. We will see you guys this weekend, and fucking pray to the football gods we can get a dub, because it's just a lot more fun to talk football when the Steelers are winning.
Yep, damn right. Well, hey, Kev, I'll catch you. I'll catch you Sunday.
All right, brother. I'll see you then. See you guys.
We're here. We're still here.
We are still here.